Yesterday, we saw him in Western Sydney talking up the government's plans to build the Badgerys Creek Airport. Today, it was South Australia and the Navy shipbuilding plan. Now, this was actually announced before last year's election. You'll remember it. Today's announcement was really the plan to deliver the plan, how to actually upgrade the shipyards and attract the thousands of workers who will be needed to build 12 submarines, 9 frigates, 12 offshore patrol vessels and 19 Pacific patrol boats. There are some interesting things in today's plan. $1.3 billion to upgrade shipyards, incentive payments for contractors to ensure they don't run over time and over budget, as defence projects so often do, and a new naval shipbuilding training college to ensure that it will be Australians, mostly, doing this work rather than foreign workers being brought in, although the plan does state that foreign workers will be essential to fill middle management and supervisory roles. The real aim today, though, was to let South Australia know it is getting a good deal, a lot of love from the federal government. The government has been copping it since the budget was delivered last week because there's not as much infrastructure spending for South Australia as some other states. So this was all about reminding South Australians just how much is coming their way over the next few decades in the way of shipbuilding.
This is the most significant Commonwealth infrastructure project in Australia's history, and it's here at Osborne in South Australia. The largest project for any state, any territory, for the whole country, $89 billion of naval shipbuilding, twice the size of the national broadband network, much, much bigger than the Snowy Hydro scheme, and it's here in Adelaide.
But just how much of the shipbuilding detailed in this plan will actually happen in Australia? Now, when the submarine contract was announced for the French company DCNS to build 12 subs in South Australia, the suggestion was that 90% or more of the work would be done here. Back in April last year, DCNS's boss said that less than 10% of the work would actually happen in France. Christopher Pyne himself went on Q&A. He highlighted this commitment. But what does today's naval shipbuilding plan actually say? It makes no mention of any 90% figure for the submarines being built in Australia. In fact, the only figure the minister would cite today is the technical definition of a local build, 60%.
We aren't going to set a percentage target because we're not trying to reach a minimum. We're trying to reach a maximum. We're trying to maximise as much of this local work as possible. The definition of a local build is about 60% or above, and I'm absolutely certain that'll be delivered in these projects, and we're going to make sure it is.
What's the difference between a 90% local build and a 60% local build? Well, about $15 billion and thousands of jobs, according to Nick Xenophon. It may not be 60%, it may well be 90%, but the commitment certainly not there in today's plan. Nick Xenophon, though, wants to keep the pressure on the government over this. There's no doubt about that.